I was so scared, skeptical, and beyond insufferable with worry going into Transformers 1. This is a series of worlds and characters that mean just an indescribable amount to me and have done since some of my earliest memories. I was nervous for the direction of the story, the casting decisions, and so much more that surrounded the conversation of this movie. But having now seen Transformers 1, I can without a doubt of shred in my mind say that I was so wrong. And I'm glad. Because since the nearly 2 months that have gone by since I first saw this movie, my thoughts then are the exact same as my thoughts now, and pretty much nothing has changed, only my love for the movie has grown even more. This Transformers 1 has the touch, the power, and the spark, delivering an almost perfect love letter to fans both old and new, and it comfortably sits as my personal favourite movie of the year. I think it's one of the best animated movies ever, and it is without a doubt certainly the greatest Transformers movie we have ever gotten. I smiled, I laughed, I cheered, and I cried 3 times to be exact over this movie, feeling a type of love for it that I only feel when I play Transformers Fall or War for Cybertron, or when I watch Transformers Prime, or even the 2007 movie, or we can throw Dark of the Moon in there. Those to me are the pinnacle of Transformers mediums. But now with Transformers 1, I think we've entered a whole new era of potential. It may sound like I'm absolutely glazing this movie, and I totally understand that, and I can see why, but I'm really not. I genuinely am just saying exactly what I feel about it in as many non-spoilers as possible. But let's dig deeper into why that is and why I love Transformers 1, which tells the untold origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, better known as sworn enemies, but who were once friends, bonded like brothers, that changed the fate of Cybertron forever. The movie is directed by Josh Cooley, who helmed Toy Story 4 and delivered an awards-worthy job pioneering this movie and bringing together all its different aspects and elements. He beautifully presents Cybertron with its world building gracefully and ignites each Cybertronian with a distinctive personality that complements the fantastic designs done by the art team. The story, which I personally thought to be surprisingly well hidden from the marketing, aside the obvious, fallout between Optimus and Megatron, was exhilarating, especially as it begins to delve into why that said fallout actually is happening. It's so often said that a great villain are the ones who believe what they are doing is right and is justified, and that is exactly TF1 Megatron. And thanks to how the story plays out and how so well delicately it is done, we get to witness it all in all its glory, and it works phenomenally. The standout characters of the film are obviously the core 4, consisting of Orion Pax, D16, Bumblebee, and Elita 1. But that's not to say other characters don't receive their own smaller yet standout moments, because they certainly do. And if you're a Transformer fan like me, you're gonna be wanting to keep an eye all around the screen and in the background of certain sequences and scenes, because there's some franchise favourites that sneak their way in to this movie, and it's really cool to spot. To talk non-spoiler character specifics, Keegan-Michael Key voices Bumblebee, and he was tremendous. A real surprise for me personally, as someone who was afraid he'd ultimately just come off as overused and annoying, but that certainly was not the case. His wit and humour lands far more than not in the final piece, and his charm lightens up the screen in the way we've come to expect from the character. Alongside him, we also have Scarlett Johansson, who I love, voicing Alita 1, a character I have admittedly never gravitated greatly towards, but this movie is sure to change that and really catapult how much we see of her going forward. She's a badass in this movie, and her dynamic opposite the entire crew is solid, but specifically opposite Orion is great, and how they develop between one another from start to finish was a lot of fun to watch.
Awesome! That's what I'm talking about!
To talk about D16, arguably one of my favourite aspects of this entire movie, of any Transformers movie, what a performance by Brian Tyree Henry, who's someone I physically thought I could not admire, respect, and love any more than I already did. But this changed that as well. He was triumphant and an absolute scene stealer across the entire runtime. He goes from the upbeat, kind, and champion of the oppressed character we know he is in so many of his origin stories to the Megatron we all know, and the change is gradual, but seamless and honest in how it was depicted, with Brian's delivery of lines and even his physical voice adapting to the stage the character was at in his downfall.
We could have built the future together.
I don't think so.
There was so much concern after the first trailer that this movie does not look like it's going to handle the balance between its comedy and very dark undertones all that well, and I agreed with it. In fact, I was really annoying about it online. However, I can say, rest assured, it does. It handles it so well. When it needs to get meaner, grittier, darker, so much nastier, it absolutely does not shy away from it. I was literally shedding tears at so many points across this movie because of just how well it handled some of the most delicate moments of the film, no matter where the tone was at that point, whether it was tragically dark or whether it was fueled by hope. And alongside that, I smiled ear to ear. I grinned so much my jaw was literally hurting after the 2 hours of the runtime. It is fueled with some of the best moments I have ever witnessed in a Transformers project, and I am so happy that this movie exists because I truly believe it is a beautiful work of art, and that everyone involved deserves flowers and a matrix of leadership of their own for making this possible and for bringing it into reality. And now, as for probably my biggest worry, concern, and judgment going into this movie, that all my friends had to put up with for months on end and listen to me whine, complain, and threat about: Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime. Someone I have so much respect for, so much love for. He's Thor, he was awesome in Furiosa, his resume continues to be great. But I was so judgmental because family, Peter Cullen is my Optimus Prime, and he always will be. And I just never thought Chris Hemsworth could get close to delivering as good as a performance as what Peter Cullen could have had he been cast in this role. But I just have to say, Chris Hemsworth, I am so sorry, because you delivered a fantastic, emotional, phenomenal job as Orion Pax and as Optimus Prime. Delivering the charm and fun of Orion, but the power and gravitas of Optimus Prime, while also very clearly leaning from in respect of Peter Cullen's work and why we love him so much as Optimus, especially in the final act of the film. There's a specific scene in the movie amid so many that is going to have audiences in uproars of applause.
We roll out.
What?
Louder.
Transform and roll out!
Now, as for Jon Hamm as Sentinel Prime, all I'm going to say is he did a great job delivering on the intricacies of the character, and it was great to see him in the movie again, because we haven't seen Sentinel Prime in a movie since over a decade ago. And now, to top this review off before I really get rambling, I gotta give a huge props to Brian Tyler, who returned to compose this movie after not working on Transformers since Transformers Prime. The score here was sensational, it was empowering, it was absolutely fantastic and emotional. It is one of the only scores in the history of movies that I've seen where I have cried and shed up to. absolutely beautiful work. I can't wait for you all to hear it. Ultimately, Transformers 1 is a wildly fun, action-packed, and stunningly beautiful crowd pleaser, but also a tragic, raw, and visceral political depiction of trust, power, and social classes, amidst showing us how cool it is that these giant robots can transform into some of the coolest of things, which sounds absolutely crazy, but because of just how beautiful this movie was put together, written, animated, delivered, and executed, it works to a charm and is a damn flawless movie to me. One of the very few movies I will call that. And award ceremonies are going to be lining up for this film to give it its well-earned praises and flowers. I genuinely just adore this movie on a level I really just didn't ever think possible or imagine would be the case. And I'm just so happy it proved me wrong, because every time I think of it, I'm happy. Every time I think of it, I want to get emotional because of the joy it brought me. And that is why I'm going to be seeing it again and again and again and again. Because it is just that good. And I think it's going to have incredible legs. I think audiences are going to love it. And for that reason, I really hope Hasbro love it as well and rejoice in how happy everyone is around this film to continue on with the planned trilogy that we've now known about for a little bit of time, because I truly believe they have something really special here on their hands that no other franchise is going to give us, with maybe the exception of the Into the Spider-Verse trilogy. But that's all I'm going to say for now, even though I want to say so much more and talk spoilers and all the little bits of this film, but I'm going to withhold until more people have gotten the chance to see it. I hope you enjoyed my review. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy, guys, and transform and roll out.